Well, hello, Stampin' Buddies. Let me get my cable out of the way here. I don't want to run out of power again like I did the other night. Hello. Welcome. This is Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, doing a little late night crafting. So it is Wednesday, May 14th, a little after 11 p.m. here in Wisconsin. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. And let me see if I can get my other device going here so I can see when others join me. I'm waiting for it to catch up. Anyway, so tonight I thought I would kind of sit back and not really do a whole lot. That might seem a little strange because I want to share stuff, right? I'm going to let this paper do the work. It is really pretty. The colors are really muted on this. It's beautiful gallery, 6x6 designer series paper. This is in the new annual catalog. And you get 48 sheets. I think there's like 12 designs. And I've used some of this, so these are not all in order. And I think I showed some of this a while back, but I'm not sure. I've used some of my sheets, so they're not all in order. But like this one. So basically what Stampin' Up! Does is they have artists, essentially, that paint things, and then they take pictures of it, and then they create the paper. So that's what this one is. These are actually like artist paintings. And I just think they're really gorgeous. They're all two-sided. This one's really pretty too. And I had done a card where I actually did some fussy cutting out of one of the designs. I think this one's pretty cool. I mean, really artistic. I wish I was that artistic. That's really pretty. Landscaping here. So a lot of neat designs. I have something in mind for this sheet. I may go back to this again tomorrow. That goes with this. You can tell I've cut into some of this, and some of my pages are used up. Oh, that's pretty cool too. I missed that one before. So these are just really pretty. They're what I would call muted picture or muted colors. Some have called them drab. Some people have said, oh, I don't like that paper at all. And I, on the other hand, oh, I could probably show you these other sides too for some of the ones that I didn't show. I flipped most of them, I think. But you can tell the back side is usually a little more, not really sedate, but less intense than maybe the front designs. So you've got a front design and a back design that's usually just not quite as detailed, if that makes sense. I don't know. It probably doesn't make sense. But anyway, I used some sheets of that paper, and I also did a little bit with the sentimental framing dies. I wasn't going to do much work, but I kind of had some ideas that I'm kind of working through. So let me bring in a frame. Now, this is an 8x8 frame, and it's a little dusty. I chose black. I have some white frames too, I think. I don't have them right by my table here, but they're probably in my stash somewhere. And I don't quite have this popping up here that I'm live. So if you're joining me, I don't think I can see you, but hopefully you'll like what I got going on here. So this is probably like from Michael's when they had buy one, get one or something, when they mark them down pretty far. And I thought what I would do is make some home decor items here. So I'm going to lay these out, and then you can tell I've got a couple of different options here because I was kind of eyeballing them before. So here's one of the scenes. Now I could have used like a pecan pie as my backing piece, but then I think I would have need to have a wooden frame instead of the black lacquer. So here's one option. So this is with basic beige, and I just cut this to 8 by 8. The paper is 6 by 6. So I did these, I think 6 1/4 square. So here's one option. And then here's another option. Now this is the one that I used the sentimental framing dies, and what I did was I put this, it doesn't cut out, it just creates a border. So I put this on each of the sides, and it gives a little perforated design, and then it puts some holes in there too. So you can, hopefully you can see the little perforations in there too. And I kind of like the concept around this very vintage looking paper, but I didn't like the corners. The holes didn't match up when I went to put it on a corner. These perforations or holes or dots or whatever, those lined up, but the corners didn't. So I don't know if that was on purpose, not thought of, or maybe if you just spread the die out a little bit, it looks different. So I have a different idea with this because I like it with the border, because I think it just, without, you can't really tell. Let me get another piece of this design, and I'll show you what it looked without the hole punching in it. All right, so that to me just looked super plain, drab. And if I did it with white cardstock, it didn't look better because this is basic beige. All right, so that's why I decided to do the little border. Now, the little border. What did I do with my piece that had the punch outs? There. That was from the stack. Missed it. All right, so what I thought I would try to do is make some squares to maybe camouflage that. And that just looked kind of dopey to me. And I thought, okay, what if I cut these at a diagonal and made like the old photo albums where I used to have the corners on them? And I thought, well, I kind of like that because that would camouflage those corners that I didn't like how they were cut. And I like, in theory, how this light looks, but these corners were just kind of too busy going on because that's not how I remember those old photo albums being. So what I did then is I just cut out of basic black some squares. I think they were 1 3/8 square, and then I just cut them in half, and I like that. And then if I put it in the frame, then I think it'll look really nice. So this is one idea. And then let me, is there another one under here? I don't think so. So we had, I don't remember which one. I thought I had another one on top of there first. I did the landscape one. I'm losing my marbles. All right. Here is another one that I thought was very pretty. And I think this one needs like a die cut tree of some sort to just make that stand off. Now, I could probably do something like this as well. I hadn't tried that before, but I kind of like how that looks too. And obviously I would glue those better so that it's all centered on here nice. But that looks pretty cool too. And my other thought was if I attached these, then I could put this up on some adhesive strips and have it standing out a little bit, and I think that would be attractive as well. I thought I had one more, but I guess it's just those three. So now I have to kind of decide what I want to do. So I think first off, I'm just going to go ahead, sorry about that little screech there. I'm going to set my frame off to the side, and let's go ahead and glue these together. I want to make sure that I get my corners. Now when I do home decor pieces, I prefer to use the liquid glue just because I feel like it's a little more permanent than like the stamp and seal. And that might be silly of me, I don't know. But I would hate to have a home decor item, especially if I give it as a gift. I would hate to have it come apart in the frame and then make it look like I didn't know how to put things together. So there's that. And then I think if I put this up on, I'm trying to decide if I want to do the old-fashioned photo album look or just putting it on dimensionals. Because if I did this, I would not probably put a tree, a die-cut tree, but I certainly could. I certainly could. All right, so let's set this one aside because I'll have to decide if I want it raised or if I want it flat. I think I want it raised. I'm pretty sure I want it raised. So let's go ahead. And I don't have any adhesive strips right here. So I will do that and I will post a picture later on my Facebook page. So let's set this one aside because I want to focus on this one because I really do like how this looks as a home decor item. So let's go ahead and put some glue on here. And this I'll want to avoid putting glue through where the holes are die cut, obviously. And I'm not going to worry about the corners quite so much because I'm going to have those corner pieces like an old-fashioned photo album to hold those down. So we'll go ahead and get that centered. That looks pretty good. And then if this is 8 by 8, and if my inside piece is 6 1/4, I think, 6 1/4, that would leave me like 3/4 of an inch-ish. That's actually pretty good. And you think I can get that on there when I put the glue on there? Probably not. We'll give it a whirl. I still don't see, oh, there we go. Now I think I got it to pop up here. So now I can see if anybody joins me, leaves a comment. If you stopped in, let me know where you're watching from. I love having company. And I love it when I have some of my gals come over and craft with me. I do open studio time. Generally at least once a month. I think that's going to be pretty close. Pretty close. And then we'll go ahead and put these on. And I think I'm going to put those with some of the mini black dimensionals because I think that'll just give it a nice look. So I'm just going to put the mini dimensionals around the outer edges. Whoops. And like I was saying, I think last night, it's nice to work with the black ones because when you take those backing pieces off, it's very easy to tell that you've gotten all your backing pieces off. That just kind of looks like the old-fashioned photo albums to me. I think I still have some of my mother's old photo albums that have those on them. And then when I'm done putting this together, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the frame too, just so you can see what it looks like. And this is all from just a piece of ready-to-use 6x6 designer series paper. What could be easier than that? Oops. I don't even remember how much I paid for the frame, but you figure the one piece of paper out of a 6x6 pack where you get 48 sheets of paper. And I think those are like $12.50 now. And if you get the frame on sale, this would make just a really cool gift, I think. Unless you want to use it in your own home if it matches your decor. But I think once we put the frame on, if you wanted to do it like as a Christmas gift, you could wrap some ribbon around the frame and really turn it into something Christmas gift worthy. So I'll just lay this in here. This is like a shadow box, so it won't sit all the way on the glass. I don't do a whole lot of home decor pieces, but isn't that just, I think that's really special. I think that's really pretty. So like I was saying, if you wanted to do it as a Christmas gift, you could use a couple of different kinds of ribbon. I mean, we could even, you could wrap it all the way around and put a bow on top. I probably didn't give myself enough ribbon, but we can kind of get the idea. If I could figure out how to tie a bow. Or, you know, sometimes I've done it like this. No, I think that would be too funky looking. So I don't like how that looks. But if you're just going to give it that way, they could always take the bow off. Or we could use some of the basic beige, and you could actually just make a nice bow. And maybe put it on the front or wrap it around the frame like I had mentioned before, and then just stick this on where you've got it wrapped. So I wouldn't wrap it with this, but you know, if you wrap it around and put the bow on it, I think that would look good too. And then there's always like this gold, but I think that wouldn't work with this one. It would work better with like this one maybe. This metallic gold woven. That's pretty cool. So that's that. All right. And I think with this one, if I go ahead and get my adhesive strips, I had them out for our open studio time on Monday. We're using them. So if we just put a few of these on, 2, 3, 4. We'll go a little longer. I like these adhesive strips because then it keeps everything up high all along the edges, and it won't sink on us and look unprofessional. So especially if I'm going to give it as a gift, I want it to look like it was done by a professional, because that's what we are. Professional crafters, right? And then I'm going to take just a couple of these shorter pieces since they're there, and we'll just put those in the center to help that not sink also. All right. I don't know I don't have another frame, so I'm going to take this one apart just so we can see how it looks framed. Get that little dust off of there. I think that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and take this back out so we can take a look and see how this other piece looks in the frame. I wish I had another frame. Sorry about that. And again, this is a shadow box frame, so this comes out, so that separates your item from the glass. And I usually just put that piece of paper in there too. All right. Oh, that looks stunning too. That looks like it could go in an art gallery. It really does to me. And maybe that's why they call the paper Beautiful Gallery, because that could be in an art gallery. And that might look good with the gingham bow. Just put it on top maybe. Or if I'm giving it as Christmas, I could put some little Christmas ornament pieces inside, you know, like some bright gold and red ornaments, and then put a red bow on here. So those are the two things I did tonight. This is a little more vintage looking, and this is just classic artwork as far as I'm concerned. I do like it raised on those adhesive strips. So if you don't have adhesive strips, you probably want to get some of those too, foam adhesive strips. They're more narrow than the dimensional. So even if you cut down a dimensional, these are just more convenient when you're doing straight things like that and for shaker cards. So that's what I have for you tonight. Thanks for stopping by and taking a little bit of time out of your day to craft with me. And until next time, happy crafting.